But let's dive into day 5. We've covered so much already, you guys, but I cannot believe that this week has flown by so fast. Day 3. Let's get to day 5, where we get to step now into our empowered leadership and be an empowered leader. So here's the interesting thing around being an empowered leader. It is more than just kind of saying affirmations every day, right? An empowered leader, when we are deciding that we are going to show up as our best selves, when we decide that we're going to show up and be a healer or a coach or somebody who's going to help make somebody's life better, there are certain ways of being that we want to make sure that we step into and embrace. And it doesn't mean that we have to do any of these or all of these perfect. It just means that we want to be aware of who is it that we're actually being, right? What are the thoughts that we're putting on repeat? What are we believing to be true? What are we holding to be true that is allowing us to be an empowered leader, right? And look, all of your leaders, whether or not you have a business that's just starting, whether you're a mom, whether you don't have kids, whether you've gotten a multiple 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure business, it doesn't matter. We are all leaders because we all have ripple effects and make impact in the world, whether it's with our families, whether it's with our friends, our spouses, our community. These empowered leader paradigms are actually really important for all of us. So I'm going to go through these, and I would love to just kind of share why I pick these out, and would love to hear which ones resonate for you. So when we embrace our own power, the first thing, and this actually is one of my most favorite, it's something that I put on my brain all day, every day, and that is I am 100% responsible. I should have put of my results 100% of the time, and without guilt or blame, right? Without guilt or blame. I don't need to blame somebody else for my results. And I don't need to guilt myself or shame myself for not getting results, right? That doesn't affect, that doesn't help anybody, right? But what we do need to do is take responsibility all the time, knowing that we are actually creating the results in our business and in our life, right? We can't blame the weather if we decide not to go out for a walk, right? Well, I can't because the weather. Nope, that's not true. You can put a raincoat on, you can carry an umbrella, right? But we get to be responsible for our choices, right? So when we take ownership and we decide, and it is a decision, we just get to decide we're 100% responsible for our results 100% of the time. What that means is nobody else has control. It means we are the ones that have control. And hopefully that feels really, really good, right? Because that means that we get to make the call. We get to make the decisions. We get to create the freedom. We get to create the results that are happening in our business. And we don't have to be a victim to circumstance. We don't need to be a victim to people pleasing, or whether someone likes it or doesn't like it, or likes the post or doesn't like the post. Like, honestly, all of that it doesn't matter. So when we take 100% responsibility, then we can ask ourselves, okay, how do I decide that I want this to go? If I want to create this XYZ result, how do I decide I want to be responsible for that? And again, without guilt, without blame, right? So one of my favorites. Number 2, sacred self-care is the foundation of a sustainable practice. So we see a lot of people burning out. We see a lot of businesses going out of business, right? We see a lot of people that are trying to, work to get things going and burning themselves into the ground. And that is not going to create a sustainable practice. We want to create long-term results, which means we need to make sure that we've got our own care dialed in as non-negotiables in order for us to take care of ourselves. It's one of the reasons why typically I take the last week off every month. And it doesn't mean that maybe I'm not, working in my business or creating something new, or, maybe I'll hop on a call. But what that means is I've got plenty of spaciousness and time to take care of me. I've got weekends where, actually this weekend, we're going to go up to the mountains tomorrow night after our live tomorrow. And me and my husband are going to hike in the mountains. We love being in nature. And so that is actually a foundational piece that I get to make sure I make time for, right? So how am I caring for myself? How am I feeding myself? How am I making sure that I have rest in there? How am I making sure that I am fully sourced so I can show up as a leader? Because if we're, if our cup isn't full, we can't actually be a full cup for anybody else, right? So we want to make sure that our sacred self-care is the foundation, and we get to make sure that those non-negotiables get put on there. Number three, leaders source their experiences and invest in business growth and mentorship. Regardless of whether you decide to work with me, doesn't matter. But leaders, and we take a look at any leader, think about leaders of a company, think about successful people that you see in the world. Every single one of them source their experiences, which means they decide what kind of experience, kind of like I'm 100% responsible. If I want to have this experience of life, if I want to have this experience in my business, how am I going to action that? What am I going to do to make that happen? And we all have business mentors, right? Some of them we pay, some of them we don't pay, some of them we actually want to make sure that we've got their eyes and their heart and their ears on their business, on our businesses. But everybody invests, and anybody who's successful has invested in mentorship and business growth. Every single person. There's not one person out there that is successful that has not learned something from somebody else and invested in their growth. Think about even like, I'm going to use the example of the Olympics since we just had that. Those athletes invest in athletic support, right? They hire coaches. They hire mental coaches. They hire physical coaches. They hire people. They have a whole team, right? They have people to support them in their growth. And we need to do that as well. So, by the way, I never hire a business coach that doesn't have a coach. Any coach that I personally work with, my book coach has a coach, my business coach has a coach, my mindset coach had a coach. I have coaches too. Why do I have coaches? Because I need to make sure that I am growing in my own personal development and business if I want to take you farther. Because I can't take you, any further than I've gone myself. That's one of the reasons why I'm just going to go off on a tangent here. So please forgive me. It makes me crazy when I see people say, "Oh, let me help you create a, 100K month," and they haven't done that themselves, right? Let me help you create, 50K months, and they haven't done that themselves, right? We have to make sure that we are in integrity and that we're working with people that are in integrity, and that when we're investing in our own business growth and our own mentorship, we know that we can only go as far as our coaches have gone too. Right. So make sure that when you decide, and if you decide to work with somebody, that they actually have already created what it is that you would like. Okay. Number four, leaders choose abundance even when others choose scarcity. Ooh, I love this one. It doesn't matter what anybody else chooses. If somebody else is in scarcity, if someone else is negative all the time, that doesn't mean that we have to be negative, right? If someone else is worried about something, it doesn't mean that we have to worry about the same thing. We can actually choose to stay in the energy of abundance even when somebody else is choosing scarcity, right? And we don't have to try to change them. What we get to do is model abundance, model heart-centeredness, model the way that we want to be in the world, and then someone else gets to choose, what it is that they want to action, right? So we get to choose abundance even when others choose scarcity. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times our family members or the people that love us will say, "You can't do that. Nobody's going to pay for that. Nobody's going to invest in that. What do you think you're, doing charging in that?" And really, they're not in the coaching industry. They're not in the health industry. They're not in the wellness industry. And so they don't get it. And they're choosing scarcity. They're choosing to look at the things that could go wrong or won't work. And so we get to say, "No, actually, this is what I'm available for." Number five, leaders know their most dominant thoughts create the results. Therefore, they take daily action to align with what they most desire to receive. I call this my daily alignment practice. So if our most dominant thoughts, and notice that it's most dominant, I want you to think of this in terms of 51% of the time. You are going to create what you think about 51% of the time, right? All right, that's your most dominant thought. That means that 49% of the time you might have a negative thought. That's okay. That's okay. Creation comes from what you think about most often. So if you are constantly worrying about, "I can't get a client, there's no clients out there," and you're thinking about that 51% of the time, what you're going to end up creating is that. right? Our reticular activating system, right? We just talked about this, Melissa, right? Our reticular activating system is that part of our brain that searches and seeks out evidence for what we believe is true. So if our thoughts, even our subconscious thoughts, are focused on this is going to be too hard, nobody pays for me, I can't find clients, I don't know, I'm confused, I'm overwhelmed, then that is the experience that we create because our reticular activating system, our brain will start looking for that more often. Okay. So we want to align to the thoughts that give us the feelings that allow us to take the actions that are going to help us create what it is that we do want. Okay. So if we want our business to flow, if we want our business to be easy, if we want our business to be heart centered, then we have to start thinking thoughts that are that. Like, you know what? Clients are everywhere, right? The truth is, there is no secret client closet. I kind of make a joke about that, but it's true. Like we tend to think that there's like some secret client closet that once we unlock that door, then all of a sudden, everybody's going to be there. First of all, our clients are everywhere. And so if we think that, you know what, people are everywhere, my clients are everywhere. If we think people are looking for the exact support that I need, if we think, you know what, there are 7 billion people on the planet, surely there are 10 people that are going to want to work with me and invest in my high-end package or my high-end offer, right? You start creating that. It's one of the reasons why on day one, I asked you to go ahead and put in your phone reminders to go off either one time a day or a couple times a day. Why? Because I want your reticular activating system to start looking for evidence that the income that you want is on its way. Okay. So daily alignment practice is actually something that we do inside of Activate Abundance Academy. Because if our thoughts are crappy, right? Crappy in, crappy out. If our thoughts are looking for all of the reasons why it won't work, then we're going to be focused on problems and not solutions. Okay. Number 6, leaders take action and they allow themselves to take risks and course correct as needed. Ooh, big breath on that, right? Look, building a business is risky, but so is walking across the street. So is riding a bike, right? So is getting on an airplane. So is getting in a car. We take risks every single day. So the truth is that we get to take action so that we can then get feedback and information so that we know how to course correct, right? If we think about an airplane on autopilot, the airplane does not stay on the same course the whole time. Autopilot does not mean it stays on one course and it stays on that perfect. Autopilot means it goes to the right and it comes back on track. It goes to the left and it comes back on track. So we have to actually take action. So we have information to discern, do I like it? Do I not like it? Did it work? Did it not work? Are my clients here? Are my clients not here? Like, so that we can actually get feedback. Okay. And if we don't allow ourselves to take risks, but we wait until we're absolutely 1000% sure that it's going to work, we will never take the action because there is never a guarantee that anything is going to work 100% of the time, all the time. Right. I actually have a friend who wanted to build her business. She's been telling me she wants to get this business going for 20 years. 20 years. And she still hasn't pulled the trigger because she keeps asking, but what are all the steps from A to Z? Like, I need to know all of the steps from A to Z first before I go. I need to know that it's absolutely going to work before I go. And I'm like, girl, you can't build a business that way. You got to take just the next right step. Get feedback, take just the next right step. Get feedback, take just right. Think about Einstein, right? When he wanted, or not Einstein, Edison, who created the light bulb, right? 10,000 times. I don't know if it's true about 10,000 or not. And they said, gosh, how do you feel about, failing 10,000 times? He said, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I just got it right once. Just got it right once, right? So here's the thing. We have to allow ourselves to try things. The only way that inventions are made are by trying things, right? The only way business is made and success is made is by trying things and allowing ourselves to course correct. So we want to get rid of that perfectionism because that perfectionism is actually one of the obstacles that we're going to talk about today. Number 7, leaders trust themselves and commit first without knowing all the hows. Just talked about this, right? Melissa's like, damn it. I don't want to do that. It's true though, right? Like we have to commit first without knowing all the hows, right? If this wasn't true, we would never ride a bike. We would never learn to walk, right? We had to get on the bike and pedal and commit to actually riding the bike first, even though we weren't 1000% sure to know all the hows. Okay. That's what we do as leaders. We trust and we have to commit first. It doesn't happen the other way around. If there's no commitment to create a result, there is no action and no result was created. So we have to take the leap of faith. We have to trust, commit. Yes, this is what I'm going to do. And then we say, okay, now how? Now how? Show me. I've already made the commitment. Now the how can come in. But if we're like, well, maybe I'm not really sure, then the wrong answers are going to come to you, right? If we're like, I'm not really sure if I want to run a marathon or not. So I'm probably like not going to go shopping for the shoes. But once you're like, no, I want to train for a marathon. Great. Now the commitment is there. Now you go buy the shoes, you get the workout plan, you decide how many miles you want to do, and then you start taking the action. But you can't actually do it until you commit. Number 8, leaders do what they need to do with integrity and live authentically. We get to be empowered business owners and leaders that build our business with integrity. We do not have to sacrifice our integrity for success, and we get to live authentically, right? Like I could have made an excuse about why the email was wrong. It was a mistake. That's true. Like I'm just being authentic. I'm being fully transparent. And we get to be in alignment with our values. Okay. And so that is one of the paradigms and the ways of being that I have chosen to show up. I get to honor my values. I get to be in integrity with my policies. I get to be integrity with the way that I want to treat people and I expect people to treat me. Right. And I just get to be authentic. I just get to be me. Mistakes and all, spelling mistakes and all. Number 9, leaders make lots of powerful, decisive choices, build resilience, and stay focused on the positive. Our brain is pre-wired to focus on the negative. Leaders, empowered leaders, successful business owners don't see any mistakes. They actually make powerful choices and they actually make a lot more choices to get information, and they don't see that as failure. Instead, they see it as a positive experience, right? So if we think about, if we try something and it doesn't go the way that we thought it would, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that anything's going wrong. We can focus on, oh, that didn't work. Oh my gosh, why didn't that work? It's such a problem. It never works. Or we can be like, okay, how can I leverage this as an opportunity? What's the positive that, can come out of this? This piece didn't work. So how do I want to change it and leverage that so that I can have an opportunity? Right. So we get to do that. Leaders are also focused on solutions, not problems. So there is no failure, only feedback. You're either winning or you're learning, period. When we are always focused on problems, we create more problems. When we're focused on solutions, we come up with answers, right? So if we're focused on the problem of I don't have clients, that's the problem. I don't have clients. I need to pay my bills. I don't have clients. If you focus on I don't have clients, your reticular activating system will go show you more evidence for why you don't have clients, right? However, when we focus on the solution, we want to ask a better question. How could I get in front of more clients? How could I create a client today? Now that's a solution, right? Because we're looking for how could I actually have what it is that I want, which is solution focused versus problem focused. Problem, I don't have what it is that I want. Solution, how could I get what I want, right? Number 11, leaders build relationships. They seek out others with wisdom and they collaborate to create win-wins for everyone. They get in the room. I firmly believe this. I see this over and over again. I seek out wisdom from other people too. I look for colleagues that are doing something that I want to learn. I ask them questions. I get in the room. Absolutely. I make sure that I'm connected with people. Oh, Katya, I'm so glad you're here. Katya gave me such a sweet comment. So she's actually one of my collaboration partners and one of my business besties in my personal business growth program, right? So how do we create win-wins for everybody? How do we connect with people? And the truth is here, ladies, it's so funny. I actually got a text message from my stepdaughter and she sent me this text and she's like, You are on the cutting edge. She said, this is a video that came out all about the power of community and how that's the wave of the future. She said, you've been doing that for years. And I just wanted to let you know that you're like brilliant. And I was like, oh, that's really sweet. Like from my stepdaughter. So here's the thing, I learned that from other people too. And I learned that by getting in the room. And I learned that by seeking out methods that resonated with me and that felt in alignment with me and felt good for me and the way that I wanted to build and grow my business. But I got in the room and I still get in the room, right? I don't try to do this on my own. I'm not a lone wolf anymore. Lone wolfing it actually takes a lot longer. So I don't expect myself to have all the answers. I will reach out and ask questions. I will get in a room with other people that I want to learn from. I will go to a mastermind dinner. I will travel to a networking event. I will go to places where I know people are there that can not only, that I can learn something from, but also that I can help them create a win too. Number 12, leaders are impact driven and give generously. They lead with service first. Don't you notice that a trait? Those people that are really, really successful, they actually want to help you. At least the people that I hang around with, like those are the people I seek out. The people that are like, sure, let me help you. Absolutely. Like, let me connect you with this person. Let me give you this handout. Let me share this thing for you. Right. By the way, Melissa, I haven't forgotten. I know that I need to send you that about the email. So I will send that to you today. They lead with service, right? Versus what do I get? What am I going to get from you? What am I going to get? Lead with service first. Yes, Corey. Yes, yes. So I want you to ask yourself, which one, we're going to pick one, which one stands out the most for you that you might want to action this week, right? We don't need to do them all perfectly. I'll kind of scroll back up so you guys can see them. Well, I can't scroll all the way. You guys can take a look at the handout, but which one, and you can just pop in the chat for me, whether you're here on Facebook or whether you're here in Zoom with me, which number feels like one that you're like, you know what, that one is kind of speaking to me now. I think I want to try that one on this week. Is it that you decide that you want to focus on abundance, even when others are being negative? Where you know that you get to see all the goodness and the beauty and the joy and the abundance of money and freedom and whatever it is that you want? Is that you want to do more of a daily alignment practice? Maybe you want to, take action in one way, shape, or form, and then I'll see it as the feedback and course correct. Just ask yourself, how did this work? Is it something that I want to try again or not? Right? So remember, paradigms are more than just a way of feeling, thinking, or believing. It is a way we are being, right? It's the way that we are being in the world. Okay. So that is going to be your action step for today is which empowered paradigm stands out for you? Which one would you like to take action this week? And you just get to write it down and say, okay, how could I action this? How could I be more of this? Again, you don't have to get it perfect, right? There is no perfection. Yeah. So which one, I would love to hear from you guys. Which one kind of resonates for you? Which one resonates for you? Anyone that kind of stood out for you? Renee, Jen, Alyssa, Melissa?
Well, for me, number 3,
Number 3.
choosing
Yeah.
to invest in the things that are important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sourcing their experiencing and investing in business growth and mentorship.
Yeah.
And you just did that today. So I'm so excited. Welcome. Melissa is inside of
I'm
Abundance now.
scared to death, but
So
I did
excited
it.
to have you with us. You're going to love it. Alyssa is here. She's going to be one of your sisters here. So we're so excited to have you. Yeah. Who else wants to share? Let me check in the chat and see what you guys came up with because I asked you to pop that in there. Number 4. So Renee said number 4. Catherine said number 4. Melissa said number 3. Yeah. Action leads to clarity. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Jen said lead to give generously. Yeah, leaders get to give generously. And the other part of that is when we also get to receive generously too, right? Because when we allow ourselves to receive, we can share. When we allow ourselves to receive, we can share. So yeah, we can give generously, but we also want to make sure that we're fully sourced, right? Because if we get sick with our own energy, we can't be the empowered leaders that we want to be. So we get to give to ourselves emotionally, physically, spiritually, and in wealth, so that we can then share generously with others. Awesome. Cool, cool. List is like 4, 5, 6. Choose abundance, focus on the dominant thoughts, and take action. Awesome. Yeah. Yes. Cool, cool. These are great. By the way, I actually had a client reach out to me and she said, I saw you a couple years ago when you shared the empowered leadership. And she says, I printed them out and they sit up in my office. And that just made my heart so happy because she's actually never worked with me. She's not a client. She's just somebody that, watched one of the trainings. And so you might actually enjoy that, just printing it out and, popping it up on your desk, your mirror or something where you can just take a look and just remind yourself of who you get to be in the world as an empowered leader. And notice when we fall out of alignment. Notice when we fall out of alignment. There's nothing wrong. We don't need to guilt or blame ourselves. We're like, oh, oops, I got on the wrong train. I got on the scarcity train today. I woke up on the scarcity train, not the abundance train, right? So let me just take a breath and put a pause and shift. All right, now let's go into the obstacles because there are really common blocks to success. And so before we can create success, we actually need to be aware of where we might be getting in our own way. Because not only, by the way, we all do this. Like there's not anybody that is immune to any of the obstacles that I'm going to share. We've all done one or all of them at some point. But when we're aware of where we're getting caught, when we are aware that we're bumping up against an obstacle, then we get to go back to that number one paradigm and take 100% responsibility to do something about it. Right? We get to choose and make a decision to do something about it, but we can't do anything about it until we know, oh, darn, I'm making that mistake. Or, oh, I'm bumping up against this resistance. How do I move through this? So, number one, common blocks, hiding and playing small. How many of us think, I really don't want to do a post because of what if somebody doesn't like it? Instead, right, in the past week, think about it. Have you said that you would share what you do on social media, but instead get nervous or distracted and do something else? Right? I know I've done that before. Oh, I'm not going to go live today. Oh, I'm not going to do the thing today. Oh, I'm not going to really post today. So that's an obstacle. When we hide and play small, it serves nobody. The most important thing that we can do is shine brighter because when you do that, it actually allows others to do the same, right? When we show up and we shine our light, we get to give others permission to do the same. Number two, and I know I've done this too, staying in our comfort zone instead of going all in. Think about it. In the past month, have you seen somebody you could help? Like you're like, oh gosh, I could really help her. But instead, you didn't make an invitation. You just waited for them. I'll just wait until they reach out to me. But you know that you could serve them. You know that you could help them, right? But you just dimmed your light and said, no, I'm just going to stay in my comfort zone. It feels better here. It feels kind of scary and wonky for me to say, hey, I noticed that you're struggling with blah, 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 or I noticed that you made this comment about blah, blah, blah. I would love to support you with that. Number three, asking for permission. A lot of times we wait to do something until we have permission from somebody else, right? So ask yourself in the past 2 weeks, have you doubted yourself, doubted your pricing, looked to other people to give you permission to charge what you really wanted, right? Well, if so and so says that it's good for her, then that must be okay. Or if my husband thinks that that's a good price, then it must be okay. We tend to seek out affirmation, right? Here's one that I see popping up a lot around the permission. And that is some of my clients will make a post and they're like, oh, nobody's liking it. Nobody's commenting on it. Right. And so basically what we're doing is we're making a post. And if we don't get the likes, we're thinking that we don't have affirmation or permission from them that we're good. Right? Our intention is not to get affirmation from other people that we're worthy and we're valuable, because that's not up for negotiation, right? Just like Brene Brown, your worthiness and your value is not up for negotiation. So we really want to make sure that we are giving ourselves permission, that's 100%, right? If we're asking for somebody else, if it's okay if I XYZ, that's a very, very different thing than saying, I would like to do XYZ thing. And, what is it that I really want? And how could I get that support? Number 4, people pleasing over your own needs and desires. In the past month, have you put working on your business on the back burner because someone else wanted your attention? Right? Have we started something and then someone says, "Hey, mom, can you blah, 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 blah?" And you're like, "Oh, okay." Right? We tend to put people pleasing over our own needs and desires. Right? I can't go take a nap today because so and so needs me. I can't go for a walk today because so and so needs me. I can't do what I need to do so that I'm fully sourced because I might hurt somebody else's feelings. I can't say no to the church lady that wants me to bake casserole for next Sunday because I might, look like I don't really want to be helpful. That's people pleasing over our own needs and desires, right? And so a way around that is actually to say, I would be happy to help. Let me just finish what I'm working on first, and then I'll be there, right? Thank you so much for asking me to bake that casserole. Next week is not a good week for me, but what are the other dates that are available if you want to? If you want to, right? Or if you don't want to, you can go, you know what? Thanks for asking, but that's just not going to work out for me, right? No is a complete sentence, right? So we get to take our own needs and desires, right? Instead of doing something because we think that we should or we have to, so that they'll think that we're nice, so that they think that we're good, right? Yeah. Number 5, waiting until you see proof first before you commit. Oh boy, that's a good one, right? In the past year, have you wanted to invest in support, but you think you have to make money first before you invest in your business? Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Right? We're like, oh, I know that I need support, but I need to go create the money first. Well, if you could create the money in the first place, why would you need the support? Right? It's like, crazy. I think of this. I remember, when I was teaching yoga back in '93, and I would say, "Hey, you want to come to my yoga class?" And they're like, "Oh no, I can't do yoga. I'm not flexible enough." I'm like, dude, like that's why you go to yoga. Like you go to yoga so that you get flexible, right? Like you don't come and show up to a yoga class knowing how to do the splits and a back bend right away, right? So again, we don't want to rely on proof of anything before we commit. Now, here's the other thing that we can do though, which actually puts us in abundance, is we get to say, what is the evidence out there that I see that it could be possible for me? Right? So, what is all the evidence? Who are all the people out there that are saying, I had this win? Who are the other people out there that are saying, oh, I just got a new client? Who are the other people out there that whenever you see that, that is the evidence that it's possible for you, because we don't see things in the world unless they're possible for us too. We don't, right? We think that our eyes are what actually feeds us the truth, but it's actually the other way around. It comes from our thoughts. We look to support what we believe to be true. Yeah. Number 6, waiting until tomorrow, believing you don't have enough time. So just notice, in the past month, have you delayed making a decision to take action in your business at least twice, telling yourself you don't have enough time? There's no such thing as not enough time. There really isn't. It is only a decision, right? So you can make the decision to do something in your business, and you can also make the decision not to do something in your business. But what we don't want to do is say, I don't have enough time, because that means that you're not 100% responsible. You're blaming time for the reason why you can't have a successful business. Make sense? Yeah. So we don't have to blame time. We just get to say, I'm going to make this decision or I'm not going to make this decision. But we get to take ownership of our decision and not blame time, not blame money, not blame circumstance, not blame any of the other things out there. Speaking of circumstance, number 7, letting your circumstances decide for you, right? In the past year, have you been a heart yes for having something, but you let your bank account or your partner or outside circumstances be the reason why you said no? Right? That's an obstacle. Instead of letting the circumstance decide for us, we want to make the decision. And it's okay to be a no. Let me just say that. It's okay to be a no too. If something doesn't align for you or resonate for you, and you're making an empowered decision, and again, a difference between an empowered decision and one out of fear and doubt is you'll know by the thoughts. An empowered decision is, you know what? I could do this if I want, and I've decided that I want to do this instead. A fear-based decision is, I'm afraid that I might not succeed. I'm afraid that I might not get a return on investment. I'm afraid that I won't follow through. I'm afraid of what people are going to think, right? Fear and doubt are a completely different decision. And we don't want to make decisions from fear or doubt. We want to make empowered decisions from what feels good for me, right? So the first thing, and this is my favorite way to decide, how can you tell the difference? You ask yourself, if I wanted to do this, am I a heart yes for it? Am I a heart yes for it? And if you're not a heart yes, then that's an empowered decision and you're a no. But if you're a yes for having a different experience, if you're a yes for support, if you're a yes for training for a marathon, if you're a yes for doing whatever it is that you want to do, even if you don't know how to do it, you have to be a yes first, right? If you're a yes for it, then chances are the fear and the doubt are going to be what takes you out of alignment. You have to be a yes first. If you're not a yes, then you don't need to go any further. So that's the determiner, right? Am I a yes for this? If so, I'll figure it out. If I'm not a yes, I'm a no, right? So just ask yourself, where do you feel that you might be out of alignment? You can put a check mark next to any of the obstacles that might be preventing you from your success. Okay. And then ask yourself, are you willing to bust through them so that you can crack through that ceiling and be the empowered leader here to make a difference in the world and allow yourself to be well paid? Yes or no? It's just a decision. You get to say yes, you get to say no. You don't have to bust through them if you don't want to. You can make that decision and say, nope, not going to do it. Oops, I forgot about this decision. Number 8. My bad. Sitting on the fence and not making a decision, right? So think about that. In the past 3 months, have you known you're like, I really have to make a decision about this? Doesn't have to be big decision. It could be, I need to make a decision about what scheduler. I need to make a decision about what payment system. I need to make a decision about, what offer I'm going to do. But instead of making it, you overthink and you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and instead delay actually making a choice because you're afraid about making the wrong choice. Anybody else have that happen? I know I have, right? But what if I do make the wrong choice, right? Here's the thing, when we're sitting on the fence and not making a decision, we're doing nothing and we're going nowhere. It's better to make a decision to get feedback so that you know whether you need to go left or whether you need to go right. But you have to come off the fence. You have to make a decision one way or another to get the information to guide you to take the next step. If we don't do that, we do nothing but spin, right? We just sit on the fence and we're like, yep, not making that decision, afraid to make that decision. What if I get it wrong? What if you get it right? We won't ever know that until we actually make the decision, right? And whenever we do make a decision, we also have 100% responsibility. If we try something and we're like, you know what? As a matter of fact, I just did that. I think you guys were here when I said we went with a new thing. We went with like Restream so we could stream to multiple platforms. I'm like, you know what? Don't like it. Not doing it. I made a decision. I tried it. It didn't work the way that I wanted it to. I found that I could actually get the exact same thing inside of Zoom. Why would I spend an extra $200 on something that I can use? But I made the decision to try it, right? So what was I out? Maybe $10. Okay. I tried it. Now I know, right? No guilt, no shame, 100% responsible for that decision. Yeah. So identify your blocks to success. So this is how we do that. Which block, and we just want to focus on one at a time. Which one feels like the one that feels like the strongest for you? Which block do you see as a pattern that you bump up against on your pathway to success? You'll notice a pattern. We all know we all do something habitually, right? So think about this as resistance. When we bump up against something, that just means we're having resistance to something. Notice which one you have a resistance to. And then we get to ask ourselves, what do I want to do about it? Do I even want to do something about it? Right? Corey, you said abundance focus, especially with negative energy, spreading politics, etc. Right? Yes. I mean, honestly, I don't follow politics on Facebook. And it's interesting because my husband is a political science major. So let me tell you how much I get to hear in the house, right? So and he loves politics, like he loves it. And he gets frustrated with some of the stuff that he sees online. And I'm like, I don't see it. Why don't I see it? Because I don't engage with it, because I choose abundance instead of the other way. I don't engage. I don't engage. And so we get to choose that. And sometimes when he starts talking about something, I'm like, you know what? Honestly, I love you, but I don't want to hear it. I'm going to choose abundance. That can be the experience over here, but I'm choosing this parallel universe over here. I'm going here. I'm not going there. I'm going here. Right? So what do we want to do about it? And then what's the next right step? Again, we do not need to have all the hows. The how arises in the commitment. First, we have to decide that we're going to do something about it. Then we get to ask ourselves, what would I like to do about it? And then we get to ask ourselves, okay, if I want to do something about it, what is just one next step that I could do? Just take the right next step. That's all we have to do, right? And then we actually get feedback. And we're like, oh, okay, I feel better. I have more clarity now. I have an answer now, right? One of the fun, I'm going to stop sharing for just a minute. One of the fun mindset pieces that I like to do is I'll sit and I will ask myself, what is something that I need to know or do to accomplish my goals or to move me closer to my goals? What is something that I need to know or do that is going to take me closer to my goals? And I might not have the answer right away. But when I ask that question, that taps into what I like to call divine downloads. It allows me to be open to the divine wisdom and the answers that are going to support me. And that feels so much better, right? What do I want to do? What's the next right step? So, what's coming up for you guys? I would love to hear and take any questions that you guys have. Yeah, and Jen in the chat, when we hide and play small, it serves no one. Nope. And we wouldn't see it if it wasn't possible for us. Yep. The fact that you see that making six figures, multiple six figures, seven figures is possible in the world means it's possible for you too. The fact that you have it on your heart to serve people in this way means that there are people looking for you. Yeah. So what is one of these that you bump up against or you feel a little bit of resistance around if you want support or have any questions or just want to share an aha? Anybody? No? All right. Well, you guys
I
can
can
do it.
share real quick.
Oh, hey, Jen.
Hey,
Hi. So good to
I
see
think
you.
you too. I think staying in the positive. Um, I when I bump up against resistance, then I definitely talk down to myself, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this, or things run through my head, and then it puts me in a slump for
Mhm.
probably longer than it should.
Yeah. Yeah. When we focus on what's not working, right? Or we're like, oh, it's not working, right? We tend to kind of go in the opposite direction. And that's the resistance and that's the fear too, right? We get fear in our head, oh my gosh, this is never going to work. Like I'm doing it the wrong way or it's never going to work. And really, and we all go there, by the way. It's not a matter, we're never going to be positive 100% of the time. And this also isn't about just putting lipstick on the pig, right? Pink painting with positivity all the time. Oh, nothing's ever going wrong, everything's great. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about noticing when we experience resistance and we can actually feel it, right? You have a feeling of contraction versus expansion and relief, right? At least for me, right? So when we notice that there's contraction, we just get to go, oh, I just thought something that was out of alignment for me. What do I want to think instead that actually feels better? Because the thought that we're thinking is just a thought. It doesn't mean it's a fact, right? The thought that, oh, this isn't working, actually might not even be true. What if it is working? It just hasn't had a chance to blossom yet, right? We plant the seed and we're like, oh, that seed's dead. It's not going to ever come up. Well, do we give it a chance? Do we weed it? Do we water it? Do we fertilize it? Do we give it a chance to actually have a nourishing place to, right? Sometimes we have to give ourselves like, what is happening underneath behind the scenes? The universe gets to rearrange itself for your best interest. Sometimes that's what's happening, and it doesn't look like it's working, but it actually happens one way to propel you in another direction. That's happened to me a lot. By the way, I have an affirmation that I keep on my desk. I read it every single morning. Don't know if you guys can read this or not. I am positively expecting great results no matter what I see in front of me. The universe is rearranging itself for my best interest right now. So when I bump into my own resistance, I come back to that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I get to positively expect great results. Positively expect, right? This is where we get to be in the energy of joyful expectation versus wanting. Wanting energy and expectation, joyful expectation, are actually two different energies. Did you guys know that? If you look up the definition of want in the dictionary, it's a perpetual state of lack. If you look up expectation, you're expecting it to be fulfilled, right? So that's the difference. Are we in the wanting energy, or are we in the joyful expectation of fulfillment? Yeah. And we just have to remind ourselves, like, oops, I'm in wanting energy. Oops, I'm in scarcity. Oops, I'm focusing on what's going wrong instead of asking, how could this go? How could I do it differently? Who could I ask for help? How could I get this in front of more clients? Who might be a good fit to work with me? Who might be a good fit to share? Who else could be out there to collaborate? Like, there's so many darn questions we can ask ourselves that actually give us the answers that are so much better than, oh, this doesn't work, damn it. Right? Yeah. Thank you, Jen. Thank you so much. That's such a good one. And it's one that we all bump up against all the time. Yeah. Cool. Anybody else want to share? Melissa, yeah.
I just want to say, the more you practice that mindset shift, I won't say the easier it becomes to do it, but the faster you can shift it.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Instead of spiraling down, you start to notice, oh, I'm in that mindset, and then you can shift, and it almost becomes, just like getting out of bed in the morning. Just get out of bed. It's not a big deal. You just do it. Yes,
it's so true. It's so true. Mindset is something that we'll work on all the time. All the time. Like, we're never done with mindset work until we're dead and our brain's not working anymore. As long as we have a brain, we are going to bump up against resistance in some way, shape, or form. We're going to bump up against these obstacles from time to time. It doesn't mean that we're bad. It doesn't mean that we're not enlightened. It doesn't mean that we're not doing our work. All it means is that we have a human brain doing what it was programmed to do. Right? And so we get to see that and go, oh, oops, resistance. I want to shift. What's a thought that I can think that actually feels better? Yeah, if I'm going to pick, I decided a couple years ago that if I'm going to pick a thought, I'm going to pick a thought that makes me feel good instead of crappy. If I get to choose what I think, and we do, I would much rather, if I'm going to make up stories, I'm going to make up a story that makes me feel good instead of a story that makes me feel bad. Right? We get to take our power back there. Cool. Awesome. Anybody else want to share? Alyssa, Renee, I'm so glad you're back. So good to see you, even though I can't see you. Okay, I am just going to finish up with the last part, and that is, you guys already know, invitation to activate abundance, right? We opened up enrollment on Wednesday. We have, everything that you need, truly everything that you need is in there to help you build a 6 to multiple 6-figure to 7-figure business. Okay. And so this is where, if you haven't booked your business audit yet, go ahead and do that for me. And this is who it's for. I want you to know who it's for and who it's not for. Okay. If you want to create a six-figure service-based coaching or holistic business and have the vision to scale, not just stop at six figures, but to actually take home six figures. And in order to take home a six-figure paycheck, we have to go beyond six figures. Melissa and I were talking about that today. Then Activate Abundance is for you. If you want wraparound high-touch support in both group with a community of other women that are going to love on you and cheer you on, and one-on-one, then it's for you, because that is both. It's a combination. It's a community, it's a group, and it's one-on-one. So you're not going to be left alone. If you want to be part of a community that plays at a higher level and goes all in on accomplishing their goals, even though they're scared, that's what it is that we do. If you've been in business for a year or more and you've had a few clients but are not yet at the consistent income level of 10 to 30K a month, then it's good for you. If you are brand spanking new and you don't have an offer and you haven't set up your business yet, this probably is not the best fit for you. Okay. So if you are just brand new and you haven't worked with any practice clients and you haven't had any paying clients at all, and you're not sure who your ideal client is, and you're not sure who it is that you serve, you want to go into Holistic Business Foundations and not Activate. Okay. If you want to build your business based on relationships and not high-tech, fancy funnel or ads, that's what you're going to learn. I'm not going to teach ads. I'm not going to teach fancy funnels. I'm not going to teach high tech. Yeah, I know, right? We're going to talk about relationships and building our business organically based on relationships. Okay. That doesn't mean that we don't have some, a little bit of tech, right? Like we have to be able to take payment electronically. We have to be able to make appointments. We have to be able to, run a Zoom room, or, if we want to do trainings, right? There's a little tiny bit of tech, but we're not doing high tech anything. And you do have to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone, think outside the box, and allow yourself to step into a new level of abundance and a possibility. If you're not willing to do that, then truly, I'm not the coach for you, because I will be asking you to step into abundance and possibility, even when it feels a little bit of scary, right? Because that is part of my job as your coach, is to lovingly encourage you and hold you capable of what's possible, even when you're nervous about it. Okay. So you do have to be willing to allow me to hold that space for you. It's not a good fit if you just want a side hustle. Okay. So if you just want to make a few $1,000s a month, but not a six-figure business, this is not for you. Okay. We really want you to make a full-time income here. It doesn't mean that you can't do it as a side hustle. You certainly can, but I really like working with women who are going all in to build this as a full-time income. And I have limited space and I have limited capability because I'm a one person, right? So I really would like it if you are more concerned about, instead of just, I might make a few here or there. If you're not willing to step out of your comfort zone and put the work in to grow your business, this isn't going to be a good fit for you. We have to do the work, no matter where we are, whether we're starting, whether we have six figures, seven figures, we have to do the work. If you want a DIY course, right? So if you just like a DIY course where you get to watch a module and just do it on your own time, and you just want to kind of lone wolf it, and you don't want wraparound support, you don't want one-on-one calls, then Activate's not for you, because it's not a DIY course. It's a do it with you program, with one-on-one and group and live calls. And I do ask you to be present, especially for those live weekly calls, because that's the best way that I can support you. If you're not willing to take responsibility and blame your lack of results on others or circumstances, this probably isn't the best fit for you either, right? Because number one, we have to take responsibility for our actions, right? And when we take responsibility and we're like, okay, I tried it, it didn't work, I want to try something else, versus this circumstance kept me from doing it, or this person said that I couldn't do it, or this XYZ thing, right? We have to be willing to take responsibility. And then if you're not a holistic coach or a service provider, this isn't going to be the right thing. Like if you're a real estate agent, if you're just a bookkeeper, if you are not in a position where you can create packages, where you are service-based, then this is not the best program for you. Okay. So everything you need, we're going to help you build a thriving, sustainable business that's simple and aligns with your values and mission while you get to deliver exceptional value to your clients. I really want you to imagine this. I want you to see yourself having a simple, thriving business that allows you to align with your own values, with your own mission, seeing yourself delivering exceptional value to the people that you work with. You get to spend more time in your zone of genius and less time spinning your wheels and procrastinating. You get to attract and retain clients that you love working with irresistible offers that actually deliver maximum value, right? When we create our high-end offer, we're giving people white glove service, maximum value. You're authentic and effective in marketing strategy, right? We need both. And it fosters deeper connections with your ideal clients, which means it's going to convert more leads into paying customers. And it is relationship based. We get to have a marketing strategy that feels good and fosters connection, and also allows you to be in personal integrity with a positive, resilient mindset that allows you to overcome challenges and achieve your goals. You are going to bump up against challenges. We all do when we grow our business. I still bump up against challenges, but we get to build a positive and a resilient mindset to overcome those challenges so that they don't have us try to sneak out the back door and burn it all down or give up. So imagine waking up and actually feeling really excited about your business, right? Waking up, feeling energized and motivated about who you get to serve. You know exactly what to do to achieve your goals. You're not overthinking it. You know that you've got a focused routine. We actually do that with our golden hour. So you feel focused, you feel confident, you feel in control of your schedule. You have a streamlined process and well-functioning systems so that we can simplify even the techie pieces, put some automation on the things that we don't need to do manually, right? And know what actions that actually convert into sales. Right? We don't want to overcomplicate it, right? One of the things that I come back to over and over again is how do we keep this more simple? How do we simplify the process? How do we keep it simple and focused? You're going to have a message that is clear and powerfully resonates with your audience. This is what makes client attraction become more effortless. When you have messaging that you know resonates deeply with your clients, that means you're attracting the right people into your ecosystem. And we're attracting the people that are willing and capable to invest to solve their problem, right? Remember the 3 lanes, right? The sidewalkers that don't think they have a problem, the people in the slow lane that are looking. Yes, those are the people that we are bringing into our ecosystem. And you've successfully launched your signature program, and we get to have a waiting list of clients, depending on what your offer is. Your business has taken off, you've doubled your revenue, and you've priced your services with confidence, knowing that you get to deliver amazing value and you get to make the consistent income you deserve. And most importantly, you are making a positive impact in the lives of the women or men that you serve. This is what I wake up excited about in the morning. I actually do. I wake up and I'm like, who do I get to serve today? When we are changing lives, we feel fulfilled, right? We know that we're making a difference in the world. We're establishing ourselves as maybe a thought leader or somebody that gets to change lives. It doesn't mean that we have to be an influencer, right? I'm not worried about like the vanity metrics on how many likes that I get that really don't mean anything. I want to make an impact in the world. So if that's you too, this is what we get to do. And we get to feel supported and empowered. You're no longer alone on this journey. You're part of our tight-knit community of like-minded individuals who share your vision, share your goals, share your vision, and they also want to support you and uplift you. We really do have a tribe of amazing women who have each other's back. And that's actually really, really fun to see. They encourage each other, they connect with each other, they collaborate with each other, they share each other's freebies, they go in each other's Facebook groups, they do accountability meetings, they do get things done meetings, like they really do support each other. And that is what I wanted to create. So if that resonates with you, if that is the type of community and business that you want to build, that's what Activate Abundance was created for. That is why I created this program, so that it could give you all of the things that you needed: the copywriting, the messaging, the tech, the business strategy, the productivity, the mindset support, right? Done for you materials. You're going to get my done for you emails. You're going to get my done for you 90-day content plan. You're going to get my personal talks that I used. You're going to get all of that. And my joy is to be able to support you in collapsing the timeline to your success. So it doesn't take you as many years to get going as it's taken. So all of that to say, again, Activate Abundance is open. If you want to explore whether this is a good fit for you, again, there's no obligation to buy anything, but if you want to explore whether or not this is a good fit for you, I'm happy to hop on a call with you. And if you want to ask other questions about it, please let me know here too. Yeah. Melissa, do you have a question?
Yes, I know there's live calls and things like that, but how much time should I set aside each day to focus on the content within
Yeah.
Activate Abundance?
Yeah. So typically the modules, when we talk about like, say, learning each week, it's going to be about an hour of what it is that you're going to watch. So that is going to be one thing. And then our calls, our Q&A calls actually last about 2 hours. You don't have to stay for the whole thing if you can't, but that is your opportunity to be there and ask questions. And we do that in a group because one person's question might also be somebody else's question, or answer a question that they didn't even know that they had. And so it's really beneficial. And we do have all the calls and all the recordings. So if you can't make it live, you can watch it. But what we see is that the people that get the best results actually show up to the live calls.
Plus, I know myself. I
Yeah.
need to be there live.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. I show up for look, I'm invested too, right? I show up to live calls with my coach too. So yeah. So the Wednesdays, and again, 3 weeks on, 1 week off. The last week, you'll have a productivity call if you want to participate in that. I do want you to see this as kind of a buffet, right? There are multiple things that, are available to you, such as Holistic Business Foundations. We're going to be starting that live in October. You can come or not come, up to you, right? There's no, you have to's on anything. There are no rules here. What it is though is, and I will help you say that the weekly live calls and getting and learning the information is really important, right? And then showing up for your one-on-one calls with me, and also reaching out to the coach and booking the one-on-one calls with you monthly for what it is that you feel that you need, right? Yeah. So that's going to be the best. So again, it is a combination of, you get monthly support one-on-one, and you get group support, and you get one-on-one messaging or tech or success calls or mindset calls. Plus we have an amazing, you'll see what we've got for inside the web page of our experts, and these are all experts that I personally invited to come into the program because I've worked with them myself and I know their work. So our copywriter and marketer, Laura, is amazing. I've worked with her since 2019. I asked her to share her process. It's called Posting for Profit. We're going to teach you the process so you know exactly what to do. It's like, oh, okay, week 1, this is what I want to do. Oh, week 2, this is what I want to do. You have it there, so we've got experts here for you. Mindset, Liz Nicholas, my personal mindset coach. She just did a training this week on Wednesday morning for Activate Abundance. We need mindset support to get out of our own way because we can't read the label when we're in the bottle, right? Even me. So I show up for those too. Who else do we have? We've got Nicole Kramer, one of my dear, dear friends, and she's a sales expert, right? So she helps create more heart-centered sales. That's also my jam too, but she has a little different way of messaging it. And sometimes we just need to hear from somebody, so a little bit of different wording to hear it in a different way. Right? So there's a lot of support. And if we didn't get this in one place, we would have to hire that out separately, right? That's why when we added it all up, I took a look at, honestly, how much have I spent since 2015 on business coaches and copywriters? It's a lot. So everything that I've created and I've spent money to create for my own business, I've put inside of Activate Abundance too. So you guys, again, collapse the timeline. How do I help you collapse the timeline? Yeah. All right, ladies. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to hop on a chat, let me know. And otherwise, I'm going to do this again at 4 o'clock in a couple hours because of the mistake in the schedule. So tomorrow is at 1 o'clock, and we're going to do an open Q&A. I may have a couple of members of my team here, so maybe some of our guest experts might be here tomorrow if they've got their calendar free. And I'm going to be answering any questions that you have, not just about Activate Abundance, but about anything that you're learning so far. So anything in Align, Design, Attract, Nurture, Invite, or even being an empowered leader, it is your opportunity for us to kind of dive deep into any of those things. All right. All right, ladies. I'll see you at 4 if you're here. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye, Jen.